Alrighty. Hey guys. Hello, hello. I'm actually going to update the beta. I'm going to update the beta so you guys can test this as well. But we made some pretty big changes. And I'm going to give you guys access. So let me just set the beta. Okay. Something I want to go over, guys, is just some of the changelog stuff. So I'm going to go over upcoming changes. And I'm just going to touch on a few of these key things that you're going to see here. The first thing is replenishment is slower. Okay, you're going to notice a theme here. And it sounds a little scary, but I will reassure you. I'll reassure you in two ways. Number one, you're gonna think this is gonna be brutal, but I think it will make the game more fun, and you'll see. And number two is we're gonna give this an additional full week of beta testing. So I wanted the update to actually go out last Friday. It's not even gonna go out this Friday. It's gonna come out next Friday. Just give it extra testing in case I do need to make changes. But replenishment is slowed down, but replenishment gain from drilling is up. So if you do need to replenish quickly, you can drill. Shops have a bit more tollers, so selling off goods isn't quite as tedious because they don't run out of money so quickly. Ammo costs more. I've seen a lot of screenshots from people, and they always have this high amount of ammunition and manpower, but low money and food. So ammunition's gone up a little bit, and manpower's gone up a little bit as well. That being said, there's more food and ammo being stored. There doesn't need to be much more manpower stored, but food and ammunition being stored has gone up a little bit. So if you do need to buy a lot of food to prevent starvation or buy a lot of ammo, it should be a little easier to do that. The amount of loot you receive from battles has been reduced in all cases. So I brought the loot drops down, which I think they were increased with the HRE update, and I just brought all of them back down, but I increased the quality of the loot drops. I even increased the chance of cannons dropping. So you might get a few blue items, like the good quality tier, but you're going to get fewer. The only exception to this are the boss battles, the HQ. I have not changed them. You get the same amount of loot, just better quality. So the loot drops from boss battles is actually just better than it used to be. But for all other battles, it's a little smaller. The ammo and manpower gain from prisoners is down a little bit. Here's one of the biggest changes. Item slot costs increased by 20%. That one's kind of big, but not too big. This is the really big one. The brigade slot costs are up by 66%. So to max out your army with the 5th Brigade, instead of 2,400, it's now 4,000. So this is a huge change, and this is going to mean your army is going to progress much slower. But to compensate for this, I made another change too, and I'm going to try to find a screenshot real quick to show you a comparison before I continue. One second. Okay, so this is a run I did on the default branch yesterday. This is the version that you guys are playing on. And you can see I outfitted 4 brigades at the end of Act 1, which inevitably means that in the middle of Act 2, I'm going to have 5 full brigades, and I've already got a maxed out army. So the progression is kind of halted in the middle of Act 2. There's not much more to do. With the balance changes I made, here's the different... Ignore the casualties and everything, because I actually won this battle better than I did this one in this change. It was actually a little easy, but I'm still working on changing up the army comps. But notice I only had 3 brigades. What we changed, though, is I went through and I redid almost all of the AI army compositions that are used and made them smaller. So it's actually going to be even smaller than the one you see on the right here. So what's happened is your armies are smaller and the enemy is smaller. And that means instead of the game progressing in a way where, let's say this is Act 1, Act 2, and I promise I'll play the game in a second. I just want to explain what the changes are. But instead of Act 1, you get to about, 3 to 4 brigades. And then Act 2, you're at 5 brigades. And then you're kind of maxed out. And this is the point where the game kind of becomes boring. Instead, we're looking more like you're pretty much just sliding into 3 brigades. It's still technically possible to go to 4, but you're more likely to just be at 3. And then it's going to take you the rest of Act 2 to get to 5. But we still have, now the boring part of the game has just been shifted to the middle of Act 2 to now being boring at the beginning of Act 3, which is at least an improvement, right? But we pushed where the game starts to become tedious. And that means Act 3 still kind of sucks, but we're going to fix this in the next update. So not this one, but the one after. And the way we're going to do that is create a unique objective of Act 3. Instead of fighting, there's going to be no more patrols. Because the idea of patrols, fighting patrol armies is useful to build up your army and gain loot and gain experience, things like that. If you're already maxing out at 5, right at the end of Act 2, instead of making you grind more and just moving, like I said, that issue where currently the middle of Act 2 is boring, instead of just moving that and making Act 3 where it becomes boring, I'd rather just eliminate the boringness as much as I can, right? So we're going to remove patrols, and instead you're going to have a new army type called Marauders. And the Marauders there's going to be 3, and they're going to run around burning down settlements. And your job is you need to stop them and take out all 3 Marauders. There's going to be no patrol armies or field armies. You only have 3 fights that you have to do, technically. You could still do encamped battles, but you only have to do 3. Once you take out this, then the HQ will spawn in. And the HQ, by the way, and I already did this in this upcoming change, has been reduced down to 5 brigades. There's no longer a 6 brigade HQ. Because if the player is fielding smaller armies, the AI is going to field smaller armies. So both sides, both the player and the AI are now smaller, meaning those giant patrol battles that are tedious and annoying that you usually fight in Act 2 and even in Act 3 should be more tolerable. I have another picture. Gosh, I don't think I have the picture itself. That's a shame. I think it was a video recording or a stream that I lost. Either way, I was just playtesting the other day, and I was fighting an Act 2 patrol, and they had 2 Highland Grenadiers, 2 Highlanders, 2 more Highland Grenadiers, 2 regular Highlanders, and then 4 artillery. And I was just thinking, gosh, and this is with the higher brigade costs as well. So my army that came in was a bit smaller, and I was like, this sucks. So I chopped off one of those Highlanders. Now it's only 1, and then 2 regular Highlanders. So the patrols are smaller in Act 2. In fact, just like I said, many of the armies in general are now smaller. But those Act 2 patrols should be a lot less stressful, and the battles should be quicker. And so getting to that 5 brigade, maxing out your army, you might even only go to 4 to 5. If you go 4, it might be quality, 5 might be quantity. And then you go into Act 3, and like I said, you don't have to grind the patrols. You're fighting literally 3 battles, then fight the HQ at 5 brigades. So it's not cheating anymore, and then you're done. So Act 3 goes out with a bang. You're taking out... And by the way, if you don't stop the Marauders from burning down all the settlements, you'll have nowhere to resupply for that battle, the upcoming battle with the HQ. So you might say to yourself, well, Griffin, if you made the HQ battle in Act 3 smaller, it's only 5 brigades instead of 6, will the player just have a much easier time? But if we create a bigger logistical challenge, which are the settlements being burnt down, it means you have less opportunities to resupply and buy things that you want. And so that balances it out a bit. The enemy is a little smaller. You're going to be smaller because things are a little more expensive, but also you won't be able to just continue snowballing in Act 3 because you're going to be putting out fires, essentially. And you just have a new objective. So by the time you dread playing the game, because I personally dread it going into Act 3. I'm like, I built out my army, I did what I wanted to do, I achieved my goals. What am I going to do more in Act 3 beyond walk around and loot and fight the boss battles and just grind patrols? But now if you go in thinking, all right, Act 3, I just have 3 main battles to fight, 1 HQ, and I'm done. Just 4 fights, and I'll finish the game and test my army. Which, by the way, this will work for infinite mode. So if you finish this, you'll be sent back to Act 4, which will be themed around Act 1, and the game will just continue playing as is. So you can still play endless mode, but it at least gives a bigger bang to Act 3. Anyways, okay, yeah, sorry to go into too much depth maybe with that, but I just wanted to explain kind of what the philosophy is with all of the changes that are coming. I'll make the other changes quick. I made a lot of the weapons and items less potent, so the excellent tier weapons are a little less extreme. Same thing with the excellent tier swords. And so you shouldn't be able to get crazy high stats like you can in the current game. And the AI can't do it either. So both of you are less extreme. Which again, I'm just trying to push down that point where the player gets this extreme exponential growth and things become overpowered. And then I have to try to compensate by making the AI deploy extreme. So the late game battles are grindy and way too intense in terms of the damage output. Instead, I'm just slowing down both you and the AI a bit. I also added a new formula to the game that prevents the instant shatters when you dump 5 volleys at once onto one unit, or dump 5 charges at once into one unit. Or if the AI is doing that to you, where they concentrate all their artillery to you, what happens is, if a unit just took morale damage, the next incoming morale damage gets dampened and dampened and dampened, so you get diminishing returns if you keep stacking too much morale damage. Furthermore, past 12 morale damage, it will slow down the amount you're stacking. So if I'm about to deal 20, maybe it's only dealing 16 because it's having that diminishing return effect. And so it shouldn't be as easy to stack 3 units with maxed out accuracy and concentrate fire on one unit and just blow it up on the first shot. Because again, it's just extreme, and whether the AI is doing that to you or you're doing that to the AI, it doesn't look realistic, and it kind of makes the battles less, I don't know, engaging, I think. I also made charge damage a little less extreme, so the impacts on charges result in less explosions of units, and also I slowed down melee, so it gives you more time to react to melees. And I also changed some units, changed up some compositions, and some quality of life stuff. I'm going to stop there, we're going to play, but I want to go over like a lot of the big changes that we're making. Let me just read what you guys have here, and then I will start. Sword progressions, welcome. You make 5 brigades in Act 2. I often don't build a 5th brigade, period. Yeah, I mean, you won't even need to because the AI will have smaller armies too. So maybe you can stick to the 4 brigades as well. Highland Corps, the Act 3 change will only be implemented. Yeah, so the Act 3 change will happen in the next... This update will have the Act 3 change where they have smaller armies and only 5 brigades in their HQ. But the Marauder army unique mission will be in the update after that. So you won't get the Marauder Act 3 reform. I would essentially look at it like this. This coming update will make Acts 1 and 2 better. And then the update after that will make Act 3 better. And then the update after that will bring in Sweden. And that'll like top off this season of updates and really repace the game and add in a new breadth of content. I would like to see the chance of getting higher stat items in Act 1. I completely agree, James. We already did it. So I reduced the amount of loot items, but I increased the quality. So you can get higher tier loot drops and even cannons now in Act 1. And then the other thing I'm going to do is make the lower tier items give a little bit more stat buffs, and then the highest tier items give a little less. So I'm going to bring both the lowest tier and the highest tier items closer to the mean. Because right now, basic tier items are kind of skippable, right? They don't really do much. And the excellent tier items arguably do too much. So I want to bring them both a little closer. Did you add more officer hats? I didn't, but it's on our list. That will come. It's just not going to come for this update. I might time it with the one after or with Sweden. But that being said, let's jump in. And I'm going to play on hard mode because I think it'll make it more interesting because I know the game pretty well. Unless you guys really want to see vanilla. I can do vanilla and not min-max. And you guys can see what the default experience is like, so that's up to you. But I will say, again, as a person who built the game, I can probably destroy the vanilla experience relatively easily. So it's up to you. I can just try not to like try hard it, but yeah. I also left room in the doctrine. Notice this doctrine's really large because we're going to add in a... in this update, it's just not done yet. In this update, we're going to add in a thing that says X unit bias, which is this. So if you're playing Old Core, it'll say this is a... Here, it'll say something like this. This has a slight heavy infantry bias for this composition. Or it would say there is a major Grenzer bias for this composition. And what that is going to do is it means that based on the composition you're playing, you're going to find more units of that type based around that composition. So for example, if I was playing Saxony, we're going to add a line that says you're going to find like a disproportionate amount of Saxons compared to the other units. But I'm going to do it on a case-by-case basis. So I know that the Christ contingent is good for variety, right? Combat effectiveness per unique unit. So this one's probably not going to have any bias at all. This one will have no unit bias. So I'll do it on a case-by-case basis. I know it actually says here that they're going to have a slight Christ bias. I might just say none, because they actually benefit from diversity. But I think that'll be nice. You know, if you're playing Hanover, you're going to have a dominant Hanoverian unit bias. Or for example, the Cossacks, you can build like a Cossack army and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And if you don't like this system, there's still plenty of compositions like this one, or that one that just don't have any unit bias at all. And then others that just have slight biases. I made sure that all of these starter comps like Lower Rhine, Cantonist, Reichsarmee, Crownland, and Imperial Army and Expedition, just about all of these are either slight or no bias. So it really only becomes a thing that you're going to notice under like the late tier compositions, like the subsidy troops at the end, or the Cossacks at the end, or the Freikorps, or the Saxons, things like that. Okay. Which composition do you guys want to see for this new balance update? What would be interesting for you guys to see here? By the way, France, their brigade cost has gone down a little bit, or the discount, because the brigades are so expensive that this bonus is now really, really powerful. So I didn't make it as extreme. And because the brigade cost has gone up, I gave Britain back their 10 subsidies. So Britain should have a better time playing tall, but playing wide is going to be really, really tough. I think their final brigade slot might end up costing something like 6,000. So it might be really, really expensive. So you can't go into a quality build if you're playing into 5 brigades. But I should really, really clarify there, you probably don't need to go with the 5 brigades if you're playing Britain that's focused on quality, because the enemy will no longer have 6 brigade HQs in Act 3. That's just gone. In fact, in most of Act 2 and 3, I've reduced the amount of units in both cases. So you're just not going to fight battles that are going to be as tough and extreme. It'd be interesting to see if that will be available to mod or overhaul in different settings. Yes, it will be. It will be moddable. It'll be moddable in a very, very dynamic way. So you can mod it so that you'll be able to basically mod any unit weight in the whole game. You can mod it so that you only find one type of unit, or you can mod it so certain compositions can find half the unit tree but can't find the other half at all. You can do anything you want. Or you can even remove it. If you don't like that system, there can be a mod that just removes all of it. This update will come out next Friday, but we're going to have a beta that is live right now where you can test this. And so if you right-click the game properties, you can actually check out the betas and test it now. But yeah, let me see what you guys want me to test out. Which comp to test out? We got one for Hungary. What's the auxiliary corps? I guess HRE auxiliaries. We got one for the old corps. Any other suggestions? I can add one more option. Saxons, Freikorps. I don't really want to touch Saxons right now because they don't have the unit bias. And I don't enjoy playing Saxony currently because I just get a bunch of Imperial troops and I don't even feel like I'm playing Saxony. So I'm going to wait for the unit bias system before I try them out next. Observation Corps, Light Corps. What's something relatively vanilla? British Expeditionary, Hanoverian. Well, let's narrow down the nation. British, Russian. I don't really want to do Austrian because I just play tested a lot of Austria. And I'll do French. Yeah. Well, people were also requesting Prussian, right? All right, let's try that. So we'll do one poll to narrow down the nation, and then I'll probably just select a composition myself that I'm interested in. Seems like French is the preferred nation here. Or Britain, but I think we're probably going to go French. Yeah, we'll go French. And do you guys want to see Light Core, King's House? I play King's Household all the time. I feel bad playing that. So I don't want to play it just because I play it so often. Or Lower Rhine. Lower Rhine got... I think both Lower Rhine... No, yeah, Lower Rhine got a buff to the Royal Grenadier instead of having to start with a Royal Recruit. So this is slightly more interesting. But Light Core is also very good. Light Core is great. Okay, we'll go Light Core. Okay. Try Lights. All right. And then do you guys want to see Brigadier or Colonel? I'm not going to go Marshal because I'm kind of playtesting a little bit. And Marshal and Major are too extreme for me. But we can either go Brigadier or Colonel. What do you guys prefer? Brigadier. Okay. Yeah, let's go Brigadier then. Can we name the battalions? Of course you can, Darius. Oh, do you mean like as the audience? Sure, you guys can name them if you want. All right, let's... By the way, just for fun, if you want to follow along, I'll set the campaign seed to 1. So if anyone want to try the exact thing I'm doing, there's 1 as the seed. All right, so we'll try this out. France will be good to test out the changes with mass charge and morale damage and the massed artillery. Yeah, with the focus fire. You're right. Let's see what we got. The Deschevert. You can also remove officer skills now. So if you didn't like this, flanking damage and range, this is actually good. But yeah, if you didn't like one of them, you can actually remove. I think you have to click here. Yeah. It's a little expensive, so I don't want to motivate the player or encourage them to do that, but yeah. Without historical enemies, yeah, I prefer variety over historical enemies. If you play historical enemies, you're fighting the 2 same nations every time. But without historical enemies, I get to do, you know, you could even fight a mixed force like Austrians and HRE, and that seems more interesting to me. But yeah, German Fusiliers, okay. We'll make, if everyone's wearing blue, we'll make our army revolutionary. How about that? So I can do a... I'll do at least a unique symbol on each one, though, to make them a little more unique. Actually, I like the colors like that. I think that's actually kind of cool. So we can do an eagle on each one, but just do a different color for each of them. And then... Are the chasseurs good? I think they're all right. They can actually get upgraded now to veteran chasseurs with 45 accuracy. That's not bad at all. I mean, even if they're not as good, it's still a unit you can put in front of your line infantry while you're skirmishing, so... Will you add 4 colors to the flag? I do have it on my list to allow a 3rd customizable color at some point. So we will do that. Okay, we'll give them accuracy, move speed, more accuracy. I could... German Fusiliers, give them a little bit of accuracy. That's 6 accuracy. Let's give them the pipe then. give these guys stamina, move speed. Well, you know what? I want the skirmishers to move fast, right? So give these guys the move speed, and then give these dudes the accuracy to keep up with the chasseurs. Let's do that. And what kind of unit do you guys want me to go for? Do you want like a renowned artillery unit, a renowned cavalry, a renowned infantry? We'll play around that. Yeah, because what do we want to play into? My first brigade's 450. A grenadier cheval. I can do that. Loot from pillaging and winning battles. That's not bad. Because I reduced the amount of loot you gain, so this would actually be useful. We could fight the British. That sounds good. All right. Are items and weapons going to be rebalanced? They have already been rebalanced. A lot of them are just less extreme now. Like, I don't know what it is in the current vanilla game, but they're not as impactful anymore. All right, at the supply cache, we don't need food because we have a small army. Ammo could be nice because we're going to fire quickly with skirmishers. We don't really need manpower because we have small units right now, so let's do ammo. Okay, so this is our battle. We also implemented the new personalities. Who's seen the new personalities? Is this new to anybody? The theorists with like Blandian, Gustav, all of those, they're fully in. I don't know, my stomach is rumbling so much. I need to like grab a snack. But yeah, we'll jump in. Been playing against them in beta. I just updated them in the beta. So I fixed a few of them that were unbalanced or doing something weird. Like there was one personality that would try to form 2 rows, only 2 ranks of men, and they would just be so thin that they would kind of run into you. So I fixed that. Very good, other than sometimes it can be annoying how blinding. Yeah, I already have a note that Gustav is a little bit too powerful. Okay, so I'm gonna probably reduce the charge buff that Gustav gets, because it's already a good strategy to just mass charge down the player as soon as possible in some cases. And then for the one that's way too defensive, I think you're probably talking about Downian. I redid a lot of the defensive profiles to be a bit more reactionary and to not trip over themselves quite as much. So both of those should be improved in the current beta now, as I updated probably like 10 minutes ago. All right, we will move the chasseurs into the forest. Move these guys up behind them. The one with the helmet, the one with the helmet is Munician, and I don't think I updated that one, but I did change all of the defensive profiles, all 3 defensive ones. So bland, down, and Munich, all 3 of them have been slightly improved. In the patch notes, you're going to tell us what's been rebalanced? Yeah, for the most part, Taffer, for the most part. There's a couple changes I did that I forgot to note down, but most of them are. Alright, I think this is a good position. I have yet to play it on hard with my rebalance. I've only done the normal mode with my rebalancing. So this will be interesting to see if it's a little too hard or still too easy. We'll see. But yeah, they have fire by rank now, so check this out. They're actually going to kneel down and shoot when they engage me due to the personality profile. But they get 20% infantry melee damage received, so I can move my cavalry over and try to engage them. We can also see the morale damage on both sides is not as extreme, so the combat is a little bit slower than before. You can see even that shot. Oh, they're firing left. Okay, that's why. And then here's the melee. I'll show you the melee change. Oh, they've got... Uh-oh. Charge resistance. All right, we'll see how this goes. Frontal charging the charge resistant stakes. Okay, we hit them. And you can see I did very little morale damage, and I took very little morale damage, so now the melee is going to go on for a while. And that's because they have barely any items, and I barely have it. Like, I just have a worn sword. So the charge impact isn't very extreme, and it just gives you more time to react. Now, they do have a 20% melee damage received debuff, so you can see that number's counting down a little fast. But yeah, the early game melees are not going to be really extreme at all. Like, Provincial Cav is not going to obliterate morale, and defensive charges aren't going to be too extreme either. But yeah, you will see that charge scales, I think, a bit better. Like, early game, it's much less impactful, and then late game, it'll be more powerful. Whereas in the default branch, it's already powerful early on, and by the late game, you can just one-tap units and just break them or shatter them instantly. I could charge in, but if I do, the Provincial Cav... Oh, let's take these guys out. They're recovering. Look at them running back, streaming back in. Let's try to break them. Get them out of there. Okay, yeah, I knew we were going to be caught. The momentum bar takes longer to get reduced, so you can't pull out of a charge quite as easily, but I do need to get out of there. There we go. And I'll try to run my guys in to help out. And then tell these guys to clean up. Uh-oh. There we go. The general is now way less powerful in melee too, so if I try to charge him in, that's the impact of my general. Just barely nothing, like barely anything there. So you can't really use the general anymore to win melees, which in the default branch you can kind of exploit early game. All right, there we go. We took care of them. Then we'll reform. I'll speed it up. And if you're on a road, by the way, you actually regain your stamina a little faster on roads. I'm not really regaining anything, though, because Actually, I am regaining, even though I'm reloading. That's nice. Okay, yeah, so the only case that you can gain stamina while reloading is on a road. That's been in the game, though, since the last update. I don't know if you knew. And you can see I'm actually already running out of ammo, even though it's an early game fight. So cartridge boxes will be a little bit more useful, just because the battles are slowed down, so the firefights last just a little bit longer. Which makes some of the early game fights a little bit more tedious, just a little bit, but it makes the late game fights way less like extreme and crazy. When you just like unload and just wipe a unit out on the first volley. Alright, I'm going to fire once, and if I don't break them, there we go. Done. Have I seen Carthage Bellum? Yeah, I've looked at that a little bit. I'll try that out. Will I do something similar for troop building? I don't know. I've got kind of my own ideas for it, so I don't really mind what they're doing. I've got my own plans for how I want to do my next game. Alright, so... do I want the money, or do I want some veterancy? Veterancy is kind of useless at the moment because we only have 4 units, so I would want the money. And despite the brigade costs going up, I can just buy a brigade on the first battle. So yeah, I mean, the brigade costs have gone up a big whoop. Like, now this one's 900 even with the discount. So getting that 3rd brigade is still a little tougher. But as France, you get that bonus that makes it easier. Now, France's malice has gone up, though. Resource costs are now up by 20% instead of 10%. And so that makes resupplying, like your ammo, your food, and your managing your logistics, just a little bit harder. So yeah, you can balloon your force out, but can you afford it? Like, to maintain those troops, that's the difficult part. We need encampments and convoys, but we'll still go to the outpost. Outposts are generally good. Forlorn Hope. Delay them by a week. By 2 weeks. I only need this. Let's just do that. And then I could sell some stuff off, but is there a place to sell that's better? No, it doesn't look like there is. Then I will just sell it off here. Why not? Oh, by the way, you see I got a good quality loot. Actually, no, that was in my starting loot. Never mind. Sell those off. My cav. Equip the saddle. And we'll move on. Fresh battleground. I'll take the equipment. So I get a musket and a sword. And then get the sword equipped. And then Neustadt, we don't need right now. Grab the encampment. We can use forced march as well because we are so small that it doesn't really cost much to do. A tough field army, we can't do that. I will take all the supplies. And then what do we got? We got a whole row of convoys up top. And then encampments down. So we sweep all the way up left and then head down. That's the plan. So let's run up here. We'll probably find another patrol at some point. God, I love the light corps' visibility. You can just quickly toggle the foraging to see outward. So we're fighting another Blandian with a British foot this time and red coat recruits, but no cav support. Which difficulty do you guys typically play on? Do you play on the Brigadier mode, or do you play on Marshal, or which one do you play? Let's go mount the fence line there. And then we can have these guys kind of in that position, and then voluntaries can be there. And then Cav, I'll just keep in the back for now. Whatever's needed to do an achievement. I gotcha. 5 modifiers in Iron Man. Got it. All right, we got 4 regiments. This one's going around the left. Oh, this is a new UI change. If you have a cover effectiveness bonus, you can now see and read about it. So cover 37%, cover effectiveness 14%. Do I actually save this in the change log? Let me check. Okay. And the description's a little confusing, but it says cover reduces the incoming damage based on terrain. At full cover, 100%, a unit takes 35% less damage. So that's also interesting. I've never told the players that. If you're at 100% cover, you take 35% less damage. That's how much max cover does. And then this says cover effectiveness increases the damage reduction by an additional percentage. So that means if I was at 100% cover, taking 35% less damage, I get to now increase that by the 14% of the cover effectiveness. So 35% increased by 14%. That's what that would do. So it just amplifies how good the cover is that you're using. But all that information is now displayed for the player. Even if that sounds a little confusing, at least that gives you like somewhat of an understanding of what that does. And you can kind of scan the battlefield and see why. I'm sure you fought a battle before and like one unit is just not taking any damage and you don't know why. And it's probably because they have a cover effectiveness bonus that you can't see unless you clicked on them to view their items. We can see I'm kind of getting flanked here. And they're using the fire by rank. So that could be dangerous. Let's try to charge the redcoat recruits in the center. I'm going to hit them with 2 volleys and then charge in. So we're going to go volley 1, volley 2. There we go, and then we're going to go in. And you can see I do a decent morale damage, but it doesn't just explode both units on impact anymore. So I'm happy that that change has been made. Okay, and then I'm going to have to shift my lines. and hit these guys. Ah, they're British foot. I want to take out the recruits. Provincial Cav's going to lose against them. I do notice myself like reading the doctrine that they use all the time, because it does really change the behaviors that they've got. Now the enemy had Chevaux de Frise deployed, so that's why I took a little extra morale damage there. I actually think the previous description... I don't think there was a previous description. Previous description actually wasn't there at all. It was something like 100% cover effectiveness, doubles damage reduction, up to 70%. I don't know if that is what it does. I could change it. I could leave a note for myself to maybe take a look and see if I can make it clearer. So I'll write a note. Alright, my morale's going down. There we go. I left the radius, that's why. Okay, those red coats there are moving up. Okay, I'll hit these guys next. They're doing good damage. They're doing more damage than I'm doing to them. Got a rear charge off. Rear charges now deal a little more morale damage as well. So you can see I probably would have lost this had I not done the rear charge. And I want to follow them because they'll rally. And then the British foot we can now wipe out. But yeah, you can kind of notice the pacing slow down just a little bit, which would normally make the game a little painful into the late game, but the late game battles are not as big. So you have more of these like smaller to slash medium size battles, but they go just a little bit slower. And it makes it more meaningful when you get items, and the items actually are more impactful. But before, if the game was already fast at the beginning, by the time you get all the max items stacked, the game is way too fast in terms of like the length of engagements. Okay, wipe them out. And look, we actually got a cannon from this, so now you can find cannons. The quality of the loot is increased, but notice I only get 5. So normally you'd get like 5 or 6. Now it's only 5 from patrol battles. What do we need? Do I want a little veterancy or money? Let's get money because I want to buy a unit. The game sound is low. I can increase it. Oh, there is no game sound. Whoops. Now there is. There we go. Alright, we'll need a little manpower. So I'll buy a little bit there. Good. And then, what else do we want to do? Probably buy a unit, right? Oh, the prices of units have all gone up. So you can see this guy's now 825, but it makes sense. Like, if this guy normally would have cost, what, like 700, then I could just buy him. But now, maybe I've got to sacrifice, like, an item. So I'll have to sell, because I'm going to sell anyways. Look, I'll sell the higher quality loot that I get. And now I can afford him anyways. There. And we'll give him a nice flag. What do we have? It's usually just any 2 colors, really. $400 for a recruit is cheap. Well, it's way more expensive than what it used to be. It's funny you say that, because I think it used to be $350 or $325. So that is actually kind of funny that you said 400 is cheap. Yeah. Will I name them? I could name them if you want me to, but I'm kind of just playtesting it, so I'm not getting too attached. For the next DLC, are there going to be more flag patterns? I think there's already plenty of patterns. Like, I actually can't even come up with any new patterns at this point. I was winning HQ battle on the Austrians. Pulled a cavalry charge and won. I hate the Hungarian cavalry. Yeah, they can be tough. Let's keep moving. There we go. Got a royal recruit. take weapons. We'll give him that. And I think if I equip this, is it 210 versus a 6-6? So that's a lot of melee, but not a lot of on impact. So he's going to grind them down. But his morale is not good enough to do. He's more of a shock cav because of how low that morale is, so I don't want to give him a cuirassier sword. I can upgrade him, though, to a dragoon or a hussar. We'll do a dragoon because... I have to fix that. Fix unit description here to say light cavalry. I changed the voluntary dragoon to be a light cav. That's his new classification. So I'm actually going to do this. Deutsch, what difficulty are you playing on? Alright, let's keep moving. Friendlies under siege. I could fight a weak one, I just can't fight a hard one right now. I don't mind losing some time to grab an artillery piece. I'll take this army out. Okay, they are Saxa, so this commander uses the Saxa doctrine. Focus on command and control with large officer command radiuses and high morale. Should probably be radii, but radii sounds kind of pretentious, so radiuses is fine. Its weakness is increased officer death chance in units with attached officers. So I need to snipe the artillery officer and the Hessian musketeer. I'm a starter at the game at major, so close to winning. Gotcha. My recommendation is to use force march a lot and to get lots of encounters. That's the best thing you can do. And then anytime you see a patrol army, you fight a patrol army. Every time you see it. Even if it's an easy battle, you fight it for the loot that you're going to get. If you play into the encounters a lot and make sure you always complete your 2 objectives and you snipe patrols, then you will have a much easier time. The other thing you can do in battles, if you're really struggling, is I like to do a defense in depth. And so what you can do there is you put like 2 units in front, and then you have your next line in the back. And when the cavalry charges into you and they break these guys and these guys run backward, these guys will open up and the cavalry will run into you and break and die. But if you spread your line thin like this, what happens? The enemy punches a hole in here, runs through the back line, snipes your general, who might be, you know, back here, takes out an artillery piece, and then rear charges you. And then all the cavalry's pouring in, wiping out your line. So if you're having a hard time in battles, the defense in depth is... It's almost like exploity. It's almost like too good to use. But I try not to use it sometimes because it's so powerful. This is a brand new map, by the way. This is just some rolling farmland. Nothing too special, but it is new. I just want to say. We'll use this hill and probably the farmland in front of it. Royal Recruit. Alright, so we can see from the personality here that the enemy gets a bigger command radius and more morale from the command radius. So look how big the radius is. And now these guys are getting 44 out of 35 morale. So you can actually see on the tooltip, that's a new thing that we do where we show what it's out of. So 48 out of 48 or 44 out of 35. So you can see how much it's being boosted by, how it's spilling over their cap because of what that officer is providing. Same thing with this guy too, he's got the big radius. So everybody's under command radius besides him, and that's why you can see he's only at 40 out of 40. So there's 2 ways we can go about this. We can snipe a unit outside of the radius or try to take out the officers. This should be an easier officer to take out because he's with an artillery piece. This guy is a little bit harder. I'd rather try to focus down both officers, and then the rest should go down like dominoes. So with that said, I'm going to move the Royal Recruit over so that I have my Fusiliers facing off against the Musketeer. And then the artillery is just going to do its thing. And I might actually then shift my other Fusiliers to go on the other side. And they are not guarding their artillery, so I'm going to go take that out. Saxa also uses deeper lines. You can see they use 4 ranks instead of 3 in the previous battle, because it plays more into morale. You'll have higher morale in it in like more columnar formations. So the morale is going to be a little harder to push down. I think if we attack this guy, he's being attacked by 3 units, so it'll stack a lot onto him. Oh, I left a unit of Fusiliers over there. Alright, well. Should I fall back into some cover? Yeah. I did not know I did that. Forgot I left him back. We'll go rescue him with our friend. And then tell this guy to go charge. Damn, they're going to hit us with the Lycorn. But they're reloading still. Some personalities like to guard their artillery, others don't. So we just got lucky that this guy is more aggressive and didn't care about guarding their artillery. They also have no cav, so they didn't really have much to guard it with. So we're going to wipe these guys out. You can see artillery dies less quickly on charges because melee was slowed down, which again just gives you a little more time to react in case you need to pull the artillery out or rescue your own. And the other cool thing, officer killed. We have a new text message that tells you if an officer died. So that officer's gone. And so look, everyone's morale is now way lower. And then we want to swing over and kill the other officer. And they're trying to stop me. And if we do that, the whole rest of the force should collapse. And if you sprint along the roads, it'll save you on stamina. Get a walk. Not fast forward. This is the first time I'm playing on this new map. It's kind of cool. Playing on something different. I'm trying to average like 2 new maps an update. And I've got 3 more updates planned at the moment. Okay, they are an attack column, so you know they're going to try to charge me. Let's form up quickly. Yeah, there it is. At least that gives me an opportunity to kill this officer. But look, the melee is a little less intense, right? I mean, it's still going down by a lot. Damn, they're really good against my voluntaries have a weakness in melee. So I'm going to rear charge them and try to hit them there. There we go. Look at the wow, look at the damage you do on the rear charge in terms of HP damage. It's higher than it used to be. So that's very good. Okay, we're going to shift over here. And the moment we kill this other officer, it'll help us. Luckily, I mean, we isolated this officer from the rest of the force, so he's not even buffing the rest of them. But it's still good to kill him. Because if you kill him, it still lowers the morale of everyone else. The cavalry need to recover. So I'm actually going to hang them out for a little bit. They must have an item or something. Yeah, they got a heavy bayonet, a charge buff, and morale item. So that's why they're doing so well. I'm going to recover while they're exhausted. Because you notice their stats are all diminished. But mine are also diminished. So we're going to recover these guys. And then charge once we're back up. And then we will focus fire everyone on them and have the artillery even fire on them too. These guys retreated. I wonder if I could just... Oh, they're back. Alright, I'm almost ready to charge in them. I want to get a little more room to charge. I like how long the melees are taking because they're both tired as well. So if you're tired, you do less. It goes slower, I mean. And I'm going to run these guys in to distract them, so this way the rear charge is uninterrupted, and really get my stamina high, and prevent them from recovering. So I'll hit them in the back. There we go. And now I'm fully recovered. Charge in. So now we're at 26 versus an 18. So my melee damage should be much better here. There we go. And yeah, now if you click on them, you can see the red numbers going up faster than the green. And normally their morale would be much lower, but they have the officer attached to themselves. So this bonus is amplified, that the officer is providing 125% more morale. So it's the 4 morale plus 125%. There we go, he's dead. Now the officer... When the officer dies, look how much morale disappears. So they were really being held up by that commander. It's kind of cool that it tells like almost like a little story. That it's like, with this personality, the officers are like more charismatic. They really contribute to a unit's morale much more than in a normal battle. So you really have to focus and pay attention on officers more than you normally would. There are 9 different personalities as well, so I really try to make each of them unique so that you have to play the battles differently. Okay, I need these guys to rest. My Voluntaries Dragoons really prove themselves. And then we got our reinforcements coming up. I'll form line on top of the hill, and we'll wipe them out. I'll charge in too, why not? I'm gonna break them. There. Yeah, now that they have no officers, look how fast they all just crumble. Done. There we go. And I did a lot of like explaining of how all those mechanics and stuff worked, and I was like really min-maxing it, but even if you don't know all the information that I had there, you know, I only lost 900. It wasn't like I was on the brink of losing, even having known what I did. And I'm playing on the harder difficulty, so don't feel intimidated if you're unsure. Maybe I'm getting cannons too often now, I don't know. Because the loot is... because I increased the cannon drops, but yeah, I don't know. Because I think I have 2 cannons now that dropped. I'll take a little veterancy so I can get promotions. Get the royal recruit up a bit. There we go. And yeah, I have 2 cannons already now. And let's see. 10-pound howitzer with elevation screws. Spontoon for the recruits to level up. Water buckets for reload. Or it's elevation screws. So do I want max range or do I want reload? For now, I'd want range because the howitzers are short range. Oh, I have a Saxa doctrine for morale. Which is fitting. I'll give it to the commander then. Putting officers attached to cavalry is like a double-edged sword. It can be tough. This is a skirmishing officer, so we want skirmishing level bonuses here. Reroll that. Stamina's not bad. Veterancy's not bad. Melee damage received is good if we have a lot of light troops. I don't know, do you guys like Spartan or Orderly? They both give the stamina buff. It's just a matter of, do we want veterancy by 5%? Probably take Spartan over that. Yeah, stamina's nice. And it protects my light infantry from being charged down. Right click instead of dragging and dropping. You know why I left click is I like to see mutual exclusivity of items sometimes. So for example, I could just right click this, but look, it just unequipped the other item. Whereas if I click and drag, I go, oh, that is the item there's a conflict with. So let me read about that before I unequip it. So I don't like to accidentally unequip things. That's why sometimes I will drag and drop. Royal recruits are at 2. I can already get them to Fusilier. Oh, by the way, the Irish got buffed. They're at 1400 now. So your Irish should be a lot more fun to play with because they're bigger. Should be more viable. If we're playing voluntaries, maybe I'll wait until I can get them to be voluntaries. And maybe make this like a skirmishing brigade. These guys can become German Fusiliers. Why not? Good. And I think we're all set. So we have another patrol up there, which I want to take on, but I got to replenish first. Oh, he's chasing me. I'm going to run from him. See if we can knock out another encampment. The replenishment is slower, so this is good. Grab a little unit experience. Yeah, how do I deal with this guy? Maybe I have to run away on the road. Replenish my forces. Oh, I don't have manpower, that's why. Because I'm not even... Yeah, some of these guys aren't even replenishing. Let's take this guy on. Gustavian. So they're going to run up and fire once and charge me. That's their theme, which is kind of the hardest personality in the game. Luckily, the British don't have good charge damage, but they do have a Highlander and lots of cavalry, so this is going to be a very tough battle, actually. And so we may want to layer our troops to protect against that. Okay. Let's see what we want to do here. Yeah, the Gustav's going to be really tough. They're going to charge me down. So I need to prepare like a second line of defense, I guess with the Royal Recruits as my reserve. Honestly, I know I'm going to get charged down, so I might as well put the recruits up front and put the German Fusiliers in the back to unload like a good volley. And move these guys over. There's so much cav. These guys are under threat, so I'm going to have the Dragoons protect them. It's kind of cool here. They went to engage me, but they shift right to use the cover. I'm assuming that's what's happening here. Unless they're flanking. Yeah, that's cool. So they actually shifted to use cover. They fired once. Now they're getting ready for a charge already. God damn. That's cool. They moved over, used the cover, fired their volley, and now they're going to charge me because they're Gustavian. I need to reload. This is where it gets dangerous. Alright, you just have to fire and fire when ready. And I have my reserve ready as well. Oh, don't clip the skirmisher. Oh, they clipped my chasseurs. Get out of there. Get out of there. Damn, yeah, they killed the skirmishers that were overextended. Highlanders versus voluntaries are going to beat me that. There's nothing I can really do about it because I have to keep the cavalry on the left. Oh my gosh, this is tough. They're really going for that artillery there. Try to support my guys. Luckily, they're going to get slowed down in that river, and they should lose some stamina. There, they'll be fighting in the river. So they should lose more stamina than I will. And I need to start targeting the next cav. They beat these guys, that's fine. They're now charging. I'm gonna run these guys back. Dude, the Gustav is fucking crazy. The Gustav's nuts. I can't even deal with it. Oh my gosh. You have to just fall back if they're pushing you like this. I'm really afraid that artillery is going to get wiped. Once these guys are rallied, they're going to be fine. You just have to keep reforming your lines. There, they're going to get charged, then I'll have these guys ready. Then these guys are going to get charged. I'll move over and boost the morale of my Royal recruits. My cav officer is doing okay. Oh, the artillery knocked the morale down really nicely. This guy's got to get out. That's what I mean about the danger of having the officer attached. Okay, we're ready to unload our volleys. So do all personalities have an even chance of spawning, or do some nations fall in line with certain doctrines? Yes, so they do have a bias depending on the nation. Depends on the nation. I need that artillery to, like, fire into that pile. I have a few guys kind of, like, distracting them right now. Come on, guys, get out. Cross the river, cross the river. Alright, here we go. We got more artillery. There we go. They're exhausted in the river now, too, so I can fight them. Perfect. Shattered them. Nice. That is not good. So you just have to wear these guys down. Their reload is very low, so you will win in a kind of a line battle with them. Like, this should be winnable, as long as they don't charge me again. They're tired, though. Oh, man. That's rough. I can't save the artillery. That artillery's gone. That's a shame. That really sucks. I got nothing. Hopefully they break them and then move on to the next target, maybe? Retreat. Yeah, okay, they moved on. That's good. God, the pressure they put on you is just nuts. I already have a note written down to make Gustav less intense by reducing that charge buff they're getting. It's fun to play against. Like, it's actually interesting from a strategy perspective, but it's definitely just too powerful. All right, once you survive the beginning of the battle, they lose steam. Look how they're all just like kind of settling down into position. So you just have to win against that opening set of attacks, and then you just really have to try to hold the line after. But no, I'm definitely gonna make it less extreme. I was thinking of only introducing this personality once we add Sweden, because this would be so cool to have for Sweden, but I think it'd be good to just get it tested, and I think this game needs more variety, so artificially removing variety just to hold on to it for DLC is probably not the best. Once these guys are no longer tired, they will charge, but as long as we keep them in an engagement, they'll stay tired. Damn, those redcoat recruits are really... You can just tell the voluntaries' melee stats are just not strong enough, so we need some stronger... We need like a grenadier or something. I'm gonna cycle charge my dragoons in. There, cycle charging doesn't do very much. You see it barely did anything, but just trying to do something. I might even have the chasseurs going, just to add more bodies. Oh, the officer fucking died. Now the chasseurs are just holding on. Oh, dude. That's rough. Yeah, I was telling you guys, it's a double-edged sword to have the officer attached. That's right, we'll play with it. We'll play with the loss. The general doesn't do very much. You'll get like a couple kills on the impact, but then you've got to get your general out of there. I'm actually going to leave them in just because they're right about to retreat. And then we're doing okay everywhere else. Alright. Oh no, where did these guys come back from? What the hell? We need to wrap this up quick. You need to hold fire. You need to turn and hold fire. And I need to wrap up the right flank as quick as possible. Get these guys formed up. Everybody hold fire. Oh, jeez. You know what? Just charge and protect the skirmishers if you can. There we go. Protected. And I will charge in everyone just to try to stop that. There, I got these guys. And try to push down the line. Alright, I think just through sheer number we should be able to beat these guys. Oh, there we go. I was surprised I won that. In the future, we get the general customization update. Can we get better carbines or sword? Yeah, maybe it would be cool if you can give your general carbines or something. Maybe. I don't want to make him too much of a combat unit, but I did think about that. I was thinking maybe he could have an upgrade for his move speed and his morale, so he can fly around quicker and provide morale better. Damn, that was a really tough battle, wasn't it? There we go. We need a grenadier. We need like a heavy infantry unit to stop that. And then we need to take casualty replenishment. The officer's dead. And there's that other patrol, but we dodged them, luckily. If I take out 2 more encounters, I can get my grenadiers up. I want the pelts for money. And I want to knock out these last 2 encounters. I'm going to be a little low on food, but I'll swing by and grab it. Yeah, there we go. We need that free unit pretty badly. Oh, this is a great event. Perfect. Okay, now we rebounded a bit, didn't we? How can I make artillery work for Prussia? I would say to get to the horse artillery is good. You can do that. And the horse artillery is fast, so you can take up positions on hills a little bit better. You need to get to a bronze tier of artillery gun. So if you could get to the bronze guns quickly, that's good. And usually you need massed artillery for it to be effective, so like 2 or 3 artillery, not just 1. 4 would be ideal if you really want to play into it. And then your officer makes a huge difference. If that officer can get range buffs, accuracy buffs, and reload buffs, that is all going to be very, very helpful. Put the Carabineers of Grenadiers on the Dragoons. What does that mean? Oh, yeah, you might be right. What's my accuracy? 23 versus 40. Aha. Good call, dude. Awesome. We will move him in the front. They actually come with grenades, too. We've got some bayonets, which one of these guys does not have good bayonets, this dude here. And I think we're good. Look, the encamped army isn't even too scary anymore. 9,700, so we'll probably take them on at some point. Sell this. Get a lot of money from that. There, I'm up to 1,300. I could open the next brigade, but I don't think I'm ready. I have to get officers as well. So we'll probably want 1 officer for charging, because we have 2 cavalry, and then 1 for shooting, because we have lots of light infantry and artillery. So, let's see. This dude's not bad. Zealous. That's not useful for Fierce. Flanking fire, combat effectiveness, and reload. That's actually pretty good. Combat effectiveness, flanking fire, reload. Does fire by rank provide some cover since they're crouching? No, it does not, unfortunately. The other alternative we could do is the reload speed, cover effectiveness, and morale. I actually like these 2 guys. There, those are my 2 officers. We're going to take the cavalry, move them there. And so the officer doesn't get killed, I'm going to place that guy in the front. Just don't trust him. Then we're going to take the artillery and move it where the reload buff is. And then to lead this brigade, we'll do the artillery, because they won't get killed. These guys are ready to go voluntaries, if we're playing into that. Recruit to Royaux Grenadier. I could have made him Royaux, you're right. But I'm trying to make it more of a themed playthrough as well. You are right, I should have done that. I want to get him to be a second chasseur. One thing I will say, though, that made me less fixated on getting a grenadier is that we have a grenadier cheval. So I've got 2 good cavalry units, which will protect my light infantry. So I'm okay with bypassing that. We have another spontoon, which is good. So we have another one there. And I think I'm happy with that. We got a little cash left over. Barracks. I could buy another unit. Or save up. Maybe I'll save up for proper artillery piece at 1,200. Means I won't need any of that. And then what I could do Alternatively, hold on. That'd be 200 plus, so that'd be 800. I could get a battalion gun and then give him a bronze 3-pounder instead of saving up, because they have the cost discount. The cost discount is only on the units themselves, not the actual foundry, but it makes the battalion artillery a little more attractive because I can grab him and snatch a gun. Bronze 3-pounder. There we go. Now, unluckily for me, I don't have the slots, so I'm going to have to move someone out if I want to use him. I might just do that, though, because I like the bronze guns. And maybe the battalion artillery will wait for a little bit. He'll wait for me to get that slot open, I think. You want me to rename a unit for you? I can do that. There you go. So we need convoys next for the Pillager Doctrine. I'll snatch that convoy there. Am I still replenishing? I am. So yeah, replenishing takes way longer. Well, let's take the money. I would have fought that battle, but the replenishment is really killing me. You know why? It's because I have the minus 20% on the eyes of the army. And so that's really hurting me. So I need to drill when I can. Ah, fuck. Oh. Those slums are so dangerous, they're almost not worth going to. Now this is nice. Do I want $100 or do I want another officer? I'm going to open up a 3rd brigade soon, right? So why not get a head start? And he's got combat effectiveness and infantry accuracy. That's not bad. Alright, we're pretty much fully replenished. I might take on the encamped army if we can. I could also unequip. Alright, we're gonna do something stupid. Unequip that. Then run back, grab the manpower, and buy a gun. Does anything cost like 50? No. So what we'll do is take that off and give it to that guy, and he'll sit in reserve. So I got 2 people waiting for that next brigade, but I'm a little bottlenecked. I might also attempt to take him out. Yeah, let's take out this guy first. We need the food. Luckily for me, they get a cavalry buff, but no cav. So they still get a morale buff, which is really tough. But yeah, this should be an easier fight. Okay. So, we've got 1 artillery piece. I'll probably move it on that hill on the right. Okay. Move up the skirmishers up ahead. And form up on the side. There we go. And the artillery, because all the infantry does less morale damage, the artillery, I did not reduce their morale damage, so they, relative to infantry combat, actually do help you chip that morale down. Looks like they're not guarding their artillery, so I'm going to go on a run to kill them. I'll keep the grenadiers here because I'm going to use these guys to do a frontal charge when I'm ready. take these guys out. Probably going to try to switch targets on me. Will I make it in time before they get a shot off? I think I will. Yeah. Okay, killed the officer as well. The cavalry is very good now. These are just redcoat recruits, so I can probably mop them up. I'll let these guys gain some experience. The morale's a little higher on them because of the personality by 25%. I'll fire and charge. Oh, they're charging me. They're Highlanders. Got them surrounded. They're holding everybody off. Surrounded in the church. Led by Philip Lighton. Oh, we took him out. A little last stand. I need food, right? And we need cash. We need to sell everything to get that brigade open. So I'm gonna run over here. Ammo's cheap. Probably lower his manpower down, give it to everybody else. Grab a little bit of ammo. There we go. Sell everything off. And I still can't quite get up to 900. So we're going to take on this army. Hopefully this guy gets us what we need for the 900. Do a little replenishment. There. And the encamped armies aren't quite as scary. These guys are Maurician. So they get a 20% accuracy buff. And they're going to deal more morale damage, but they'll also receive more morale damage. So both sides should be kind of shocking each other. They're going to have a lot of cav. Lots and lots of cav. 3 artillery batteries with... Oh, they actually have an artillery in the 1st Brigade. So 1, 2, 3, 4 artillery, 4 infantry, 4 cav. So it's completely even. If I pillage a settlement, will increase the HQ organization time. It will, if it says HQ notified, it reduces the day the HQ will attack you by 1 for each notification. So it comes 1 day quicker. But yeah, this battle's a little tough, but I think it is winnable. We'll do some upgrades before we go in. And this guy's a 3. Make him another chasseur. There, so I have 2 chasseurs. And I can do a melee trait. Take that. So we got charge 15, charge 15. So I got a 30% charge buff on these guys, which is great. And we're ready. And This battle is going to be tough. Hey, Tom. How's your max difficulty run going?
Better.
Okay. What's the...
I raged quit twice on the Austria and Prussian.
You did what?
I rage quit on the Prussian Austrian one.
Ah, okay. Why is that?
It just didn't work. So yeah, I sure did.
Seb, how's your run going? Oh my gosh. I tuned in. Look at this. Oh my god. Why is everything red and... What's going on, Seb? You're on max speed, too. Why are you going on max speed? Slow it down.
This is my 4th time fighting these guys.
Oh, man.
I was just trying different tactics because I went tall and trying to go for like max with these Jaeger rifles, but this is a melee doctrine, and they're just doing really well against me.
I think the amount of melee buff they get is maybe too high as well. Oh man, I have a recommendation for you. I think the battle is winnable. When in doubt, what I always do, especially against a melee army, is you do a defense in depth. So instead of having 4 units lined up side by side, you'll put maybe 2 or 3 in the front, and then 1 or 2 behind them, so that when the front line falls and the enemy pushes through and they're exhausted, you have a fresh line right behind it, and then you open up in their face with a full volley, and then they'll retreat. And they get more and more tired as they push. But the other giant benefit of that is when your front line retreats, they retreat behind your second line and have time to rally. And then they recover, and by the time your next line breaks, your other line's already recovered. And so that's super helpful to slow down enemy momentum. What did you say?
So just like setting them up in reserves, right?
Yeah, have like 2 units in reserve so that when your front line inevitably collapses due to their charges, they can fall back behind the line and recover, and have the officer ready to basically push that morale back up.
Cool. I do like that they're my anti, so I'm just trying to find ways to beat them.
You just need to... The way I fight the Gustav as well is just layer as much as you can, because the thing that kills the charge builds is if they lose all their stamina, then all their stats are gone. So if you can bleed them and make them really, really tired, and you've got time to recover, you'll win that in the long run. I will write a note for myself, though, that Gustav and... what's this one called? Hildesberg. Need to be debuffed a little bit.
One thing I think would have helped me is that I'm like trying to find patrols, so I sort of resorted to raiding villages because I couldn't find ways to get XP or money to get more units. So I maybe buffing up like the amount of patrols.
It's at the max number. The map physically can't even fit more because otherwise they overlap. So you're either getting very unlucky. This is what you're doing now. That was absolutely the correct answer, and this battle is fully winnable. The other thing is a lot of encounters can potentially spawn armies to fight as well.
Right, yeah.
So that could also help you if you want to search for some encounters. But this battle here, if when in doubt, if you can't find much, you can try an encamped army. Even if they really bloody you, you've got time to recover, and by the time you're fully recovered, you might find that next patrol you want to take out, and they'll be relatively easier.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to beat the HQ because there's like a couple of days until the HQ comes.
I think if you win this encamped battle, maybe take the veterancy gain on it, upgrade anybody else you possibly can, and then try to fill out that 3rd brigade as quickly as possible. Maybe even selling off an item or 2, and then you should be able to be in a good spot. But yeah, you just need a layered defense with this one. Are you trying to hide behind a river?
Yeah, that's been working for me.
Okay. What does the rest of the map look like if you go back? Like, I would have... It's already too late, but if you go back... See how that farmland... You've got 2 rows of hedges? You could have had one line formed up in the front hedge, and then one in the back, and then you would have retreated through the field, and the back line would have been in a cover position. The issue with the river camping that you're doing now is I often put a bunch of crappy terrain over there. So you notice there's minimal cover and lots of lakes. and lakes drain your stamina and your accuracy. So it feels like more, you feel less exposed, but your guys are dealing a lot less damage, and so it can be risky. The other big issue, huge issue with it is you have no room to retreat, so your guys are just going to retreat off the side of the map and just instantly leave before they rally. It's still winnable like this. I'm just saying, in a case like this, I may have used the farmland.
What I usually try to go for is by the time my stamina is already back up, their stamina just tanks from rushing, charging through the river.
No, that's good. And that when you form multiple lines, that exploits that even more. All right, I'm going to deafen again. What's up?
Have you reduced the charge stamina cost this patch?
I don't think I did.
I would suggest you do, because of the new melee changes, it's putting the charger at a disadvantage, I think.
You want me
because
to...
you're burning so... But basically, if you don't have a huge stamina pool and you do the charge, the defender has the disadvantage on the stamina because melees last so long now, you get me? And the reason we put that there was to stop the mass charge cycling, but the melee's what's really draining the stamina mostly, you know what I mean?
Yeah, charging is no longer as, like, so easily to just break a unit, and so the penalty should probably be reduced. Because the penalty was there to prevent charges from being so extreme. Charge cost, yeah. It's currently -10. Do you think, like, -6 would be better?
I think 5 or 6, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I could try... Let's go 6 for now. Okay, alright, I'll deafen again. Seb, okay, last thing of advice. I didn't mean, like, only have one guy in the line and then a million behind him. I meant more like, like you've got 2 lines and then a little bit of a gap and then another 2 lines of men. Not, like, 2 units in front and then 2 units behind. But you've got 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit. You could try that, though. I mean, you could see how it works out. It might be... it's too late to reposition because your terrain is also quite bad. But yeah, let them burn themselves out in your front line and then see what you can do. Just for anybody watching the stream, this is Seb's formation, which is kind of bunched up. Yeah, your Highlanders in the front. Those guys ran back. They've rallied already. I mean, this is already kind of working better for you. They lost their officer. That was lucky. Okay, you're kind of holding there. Okay, Seb, take a few of your units that are bunched up and spread them so they can contribute to shooting. Have a few of the regiments, infantry regiments that are in the back, kind of fan out a little bit, because only one regiment is able to shoot, so everybody else is doing nothing right now. But yeah, keep a couple in reserve, because yeah, now the charges are coming in, and you can use your cavalry to countercharge to try to push them back out. Yeah, they'll break them on impact pretty much. And they're going to be gone in a sec. There you go. Alright, I'll deafen. Well, let me see how this goes. It's almost over. The biggest issue you had is just you had a lot of guys sitting in the back who weren't able to contribute. And then the guy you fanned out had no one behind him, so he's going to run away and... Well, you moved over a Lamelitz, so he might rally. Where's your general? Where's he positioned? He's in the melee. Get him out of the melee. Put him back. See the redcoat recruits? Oh, you're playing so fast, Seb. Keep it paused and look back. There's a recruit that you can rally. You can get a free unit. All the way back there. He can come back if you're general. Behind your artillery.
This one?
That guy could probably come back if you... He might be a little too far away now. Yeah, it's too late for him. I would go back to the front and boost the morale of everyone else. But yeah, just try to catch anybody who's retreating from now on. The one issue with your formation currently is there's no reserve. So now if they do break anything, you don't have anyone fresh. So right now it's just a melee brawl, and I don't think it's gonna... you're gonna win it. Yeah, no. Officer killed. Okay, try it one more time, Seb. Try it one more time. But
With the double stacking that you mentioned, right?
Yeah, like one wide line and then give it a gap and then another wide line behind that that's sitting in reserve, aiming and ready to shoot once your front line breaks. And then even maybe a third line behind that of just cavalry. So you got 3 rows of defense. And then the artillery is with the cab in the back.
Okay.
And this way you'll slow them down, bleed them out. Don't put yourself in a corner either. You can hold the back half of the map, but don't be so close to the side. I'll see what kind of map you generate, and then we'll determine where it would be best. Okay, let's zoom out. There's okay terrain. I would probably use the...
Go like this.
Where are you pointing?
Can't see my mouse?
No, I can't. Click and drag with the mouse, and then it will... Yeah. Yeah, I would do that, but make sure it's wide enough that your guys are able to use their firepower, and then have a line behind that. I'm going to work on my battle, and then I'll check back in a sec.
Okay.
Damn, these guys are killing me. They have an accuracy buff and all skirmishers. That's really tough. Let's see how your battle's doing. Okay. Make the space your rows out. Everybody's too close to each other. So have your back line a bigger buffer. Like pull everybody back. Make the enemy, when they defeat your front line, make them have to travel a little bit to get to the next group. So pull, your front line looks perfect though, and you've got time now to reposition. Have that secondary line pull back just a little bit. The third line of like where your cavalry is should pretty much be behind your artillery. That's how far you want to kind of push things. You don't want to pile up too much. Yeah, that's looking good. There you go. And then don't forget to deploy the artillery. I think it is deployed, but I can't tell. Yeah, this looks good. I think this looks winnable now. And notice they're kind of trickling in, because I also made the AI for the Hildesberg take larger leaps. So they tend to disperse themselves, and you can kind of take advantage of that. Yep, and concentrate the artillery. Good. All right, I'll check back. All right, let's see how your battle... Okay, yeah, your front line's holding. Let your guys fight to the death on the front. Let them stay on the front. And they will naturally retreat when the time is ready. Move that officer back just a little bit because he's a little dangerous. Yeah, but yeah, that's a good spot for him. And let your front line crumble when it's ready. That's fine. Yeah, that general needs to fall back. And now see how their cavalry just ran itself into a fresh unit. And now your redcoat recruits who are retreating, they're going to rally. Eventually, they're going to rally at some point. And keep the cav in reserve for like a critical moment. All right, check it out. Your redcoat recruits are pretty much back. They're like 1 morale point away from rallying. So you can form like another defensive line with the redcoat recruits in the back. Yeah, there you go. I'd say you could send a cav unit in to kind of counter one of their cav units now. There you go. Okay, so you're killing some of their momentum now, which is good. They're now retreating. And start to reform your lines. So the next one's pushing again. That's okay. Yeah, this looks winnable. I think you're good. Just keep an eye on where your division officers are, because if they die, you're going to get a morale shock. So the guy on the left is in a precarious position just a little bit. Got it. Damn, are you playing on hard sub or normal?
Normal.
The hard is hard. The hard stuff. Let me check on your front. How's everything going? Looks good.
Good. They brought through to my artillery, which is fine.
That looks okay.
Feeling good.
Tap space real quick and zoom out and hold the V. Let's just look at the situation a little bit. So yeah, a little bit less. Okay, so you've got a couple infantry guys left. Everyone's a little bit bunched up. Your artillery is safe though now. Officers protecting everyone. Let's see what's coming up on the enemy. So they got a couple more cav units, 2 more that are going to push you again. If you can survive 2 cav charges, you've won the battle pretty much. And you have the units to do it. It's pretty much your cavalry that you need to make sure is going to be able to be there to counter. And with all your artillery, you've got 2 cav units, one of which is almost full strength. Yeah. With all your artillery, I would tell it now to fire at one of the cav units that's approaching. All 4 of them. Yeah, to just weaken one of them up. And then I'll stop micromanaging you. I just want to make sure you win.
Good.
Okay. Oh man, fucking hell. Charging my goddamn artillery. Oh, okay, I survived. They're shattered. Oh my fucking god. And they killed the officer. Oh my god. How's your battle going, Seb? I'm losing mine. You lost an
They
officer.
took out some artillery.
Damn, this is tough. Might be too hard.
Officer.
You've got 1 infantry left and 2 artillery. Oh. Oh. Dude, the same thing happened to me in my battle. So Tom, you've had Tom's muted. Tom's had some losses. I've pretty much lost this encamped army, and you've lost yours. So we've got to. Yeah. I'm wondering what we could. Is this an encamped army you're fighting?
This is, yeah.
I was fighting an encamped army too, and this thing's a little tough. Let me check the composition for the encamped army. The patrols seem fine. They're a little tougher, but they're winnable. The encamped seems a little ridiculous. They're using a medium cav, medium artillery. I don't think they need to be using the medium, which are Act 2 units. Who gave you the most trouble? Their cavalry, their infantry, or their artillery?
The cav. Once the cav comes in, they just slaughter everything.
Okay. So maybe we downgrade their cavalry. Let's at the end of the battle, let's read what the artillery kills were.
The artillery doesn't do as much damage.
Could you
as it used to, right? They got nerfed.
Could you screenshot their kills and then just DM it to me? And then I will weaken whatever brigade's giving the most trouble there.
Yeah.
Because yeah, the player's progression's definitely slowed down. So the AI shouldn't need to be this strong anymore. Oh, we've got a game to try out. Look, in private, which just came out. The Hades.
Oh, nice.
I'm hoping it's good. But yeah, okay, you sent the screenshot. So let me take a look at the stats. 600 on the cav. 100, 200, 200 on the infantry, that's fine. 1,000 on the cav. Yeah, dude, the cav just needs a demotion, that's it. We just gotta make it easy. That's all.
I'd still say the personality is really cool because it does feel like a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
I just need a little bit more, I don't know, XP or units or something to help me out.
Let me think.
That was close. That was the closest one.
The thing is, I don't want the player to be more powerful. I would rather make the AI weaker in that case. Mm-hmm. And I only say that because I don't want you to have all the goodies yet. The longer we can extend that, the longer you want to... Like, I'm playing RimWorld. I keep using that as a fucking example, but I'm playing RimWorld, and I took out this one attack on my base, and then another pod thing landed with all these little turrets, and I had to shift everything I'm doing because I want to, like, reach this point to be able to take that out. But in order to do that, I got to get my barracks and start producing weapons. But in order to get the weapons, I have to get my research bench upgraded. And I just have all these things I want to do, and I just realized to myself, if they didn't... I'm annoyed that they landed those turrets at me, because I'm like... How is it fair that they landed all these enemy turrets? But I was thinking, if they didn't do that, if they didn't do anything, and I had nothing to do, even though I'm stressed trying to solve it, that is the fun in the game, right? That's like the tension. If that was gone, I wouldn't want to actually pursue any goals. So for you, if it was like I gave you more money, more XP, all these things, then that battle's suddenly easy and it's not as fun. Now, there's such thing, of course, as it being too hard, but instead of empowering the player, which is typically the more modern game design philosophy, is instead of making everything weak, make it strong, right? So make the player strong in this case, and that you can have fun tools. My only issue with that is if I give you those fun tools too soon, it spoils the rest of the game. Like Act 2 and Act 3 are just less special.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I can definitely debuff. I just put it in the Google Sheet, so that battle you just queued up, instead of 4 veteran hussars, which is what you're gonna have to fight, it would only be like 3 hussars and one of them would be provincial. So I've fixed that. I think that's definitely, they can definitely be weaker. Let me think of the patrols are fine the way they are. Field armies are just easy units, so these seem fine. The boss army is using easies and mediums. They're going to be tougher, but I think it's fine. Okay, yeah. So that change is made. I'm going to DM Tom that I did that. Let me check the other encamped armies to make sure. I don't know if we should debuff the encamped armies of Act 2 as well. Because the one you just fought had what was called an easy special template. Medium cavalry, medium artillery. And we just downgraded the cavalry, right? Because it was kind of annoying. So now it's easy special, easy cavalry, medium artillery. So that's much more balanced. When you get to Act 2, an encamped army is medium special, medium infantry, medium cavalry, medium artillery. So not only does it have the extra brigade, but everything is of medium quality. Which maybe is okay, but we haven't gotten there yet,
Yeah,
so
I'm
it's hard to know.
interested in trying to...
Should we just try it out before I make a preemptive change?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the field army looks fine then. Okay, good. I'll refight mine. Mine was tough, Seb, for the opposite reason. They were defensive with a ton of artillery and skirmishers. So I couldn't even sit back. I had to push up, but when I pushed up, I got charged. So it was like, that was really tough for me.
That's awesome. I mean, I do like that. It feels very unique each battle.
Yeah.
Of each battle.
I definitely think a few personalities just need to be tuned down just a little bit. It's primarily the Hildesberg and the Gustav that just need to be reduced. Okay, back to the stream. What are you guys saying? Been a while since I've been able to catch a stream. How is the testing? Testing's going good. We just tried out a few encamped battles and they were just a little too hard. But I really like when the current compositions the AI has are now actually feeling too hard. Because for the longest time, Act 1 really feels too easy. And any opportunity I can get to lower the amount of AI units that you're fighting, thereby means the battles are smaller. And if the battles are smaller, they're a little quicker, they're less annoying, less tedious, and it doesn't disrupt the pace as much. And it also means that the player is not expected to get such a big army so soon. And if the player doesn't need such a big army so soon, that also improves the pace, because then you're not maxing out 5 brigades so early on. It might take you a little longer. But then the AI is also taking a little longer before it becomes big. So it's just kind of evening out the pace a little bit better throughout the game, and I'm enjoying that direction right now. So I'm glad that I just got stomped by an encamped army, because next time we do a build, I can ease it a little bit, make it just a little less powerful. Do you plan on adding more modifiers? Probably not. I think the modifier screen is already a little busy, so I think I'm done touching it. I had ideas to do it, but I don't think a lot of players even really play into the modifiers all too much to begin with, so I think I'm happy with where it's at. Okay. So I'm going to try this battle again. We've got a Nasu or a Mauritian, and he has got a bunch of artillery, so he's going to camp. And I brought extra artillery this time for the battle. I've only got one skirmisher now. More patrols equals more loot per act and a better snowball, so I don't mind having more numerous but weak patrols. Yeah, I'm not going to make them more numerous, but all of the AI armies are a little weaker. And everything is a little more expensive for the player, so everything is just kind of slowed down a little bit. I've actually reduced the amount of patrols, but only in Act 2 and 3. Act 1 patrols are the same amount as they are now. It's usually on average about 7. But I reduced it to 5 for Act 2 and only 3 in Act 3. Because I think by the late game, you don't want to be fighting so many battles so frequently. It becomes almost a little annoying. Act 1, you want as many battles as you can get just to get the ball rolling. But then after that, it doesn't need to be so common or frequent. The enemy's probably going to move up there. So basically, the encamped armies are getting nerfed. Does that also include the HQ? The HQ is not getting nerfed right now, based on what I just changed. But next time you play, compared to the live version of the game, compared to what you're playing right now, it is nerfed. So by comparison, yes. But from what I'm playing right now in my build, I have not changed it. I noticed in Act 3 I was getting a ton of patrols. Yeah, I reduced it for the next update. Actually, it's already live in the beta now, so if you took the update that I pushed like an hour ago in the beta, it should be better. Damn, all their artillery outranges me, of course. That sucks. Alright, we're just going to move up. This battle might be impossible with the force I have right now. The voluntaries are just too weak to withstand the melee attacks, and can't really do much about it. Maybe I could draw them out a little bit more. Oh, Jesus. Getting opened up on. We need to fall back there. Holy crap, look at that. Yeah, the defensive AI is a little bit better than they used to be. Damn it, it just looks like a cavalry swarm back there, just slowly moving around. 4 artillery guns. Alright, see you, Winter Jaeger. I'm gonna hit these guys instead. I need to, like, mass the cavalry and try to knock out a skirmishing unit. Especially the one with the officer, that'd be good. Damn, my artillery can't do shit. It sucks. Who's using canister? I heard a canister shot. Oh gosh. I'm gonna fall back. Alright, I'm pushing these guys. Let's try to kill this officer. Oh, hell yeah. Look at that. There we go, tear him apart. Officer killed, beautiful. Okay, that gives us a nice advantage for this battle. Gosh, they're just able to dish out so much damage. I just need to concentrate the cav and do these like concerted charges. I'm in a forest, so I've reduced accuracy. I gotta move up. Alright, let's try to hit these guys. Oh, damn, all that artillery just came in. And they've got canister lined up. Okay, they're retreating. I shattered them. Call off the charge, call off the charge. Come on, guys. That momentum goes down much slower now. There we go. Okay, they're gonna charge in. Oh, they've got a double charge going. They got the Light Dragoons charging with the Brunswick Grenadiers. So I need to intercept this somehow. I'm gonna hit these guys. Okay, I intercepted. Falling back. There we go, good volley. And then I'll rear charge him. Much better. And then I gotta get the cav out of there in a sec. There we go. The voluntaries are like volunteers who are mainly like Germans. And I gave them better like mobility and reload. So they're more of like your shooting infantry. And the regular French are more melee oriented. So wondering if a unit removes or puts on their bayonet, is bracing supposed to go to 0? Yeah, I believe it does. I believe it does reset brace. Because people were exploiting. I won't be able to rally those guys. They got hit by artillery, I think. People were exploiting by like putting on the bayonet last minute right before the impact of a charge to instantly fend them off. But now it resets bracing, so you can't just do that as easily. Oh man. Okay, they're gonna die, so I'm just gonna have to form up, hold fire, and get ready to receive that charge. I know they're gone. Ah, fucking hell. They will not leave me alone. Yeah, the cav is too much. The cav is just too much. This is unbelievable. It's just too much. I debuffed this in the next build, but I can't fight this. They're too powerful. I like the pacing changes and everything, and the combat feels better and the AI feels better, but I need to make some of the personalities a little bit weaker. And I need to, oh gosh, give them less cavalry. So this is just crazy. Yeah, it's too much. Okay, let me make some changes then. So I'm going to open up each personality and just make slight adjustments to them, because I think some of them are a little too strong. Sorry. Let me open up the personalities. So if we've got Gustav, we're going to open up Blandian tactics first. What do they got? Blandian is fire by rank, 30% less ammo consumption, and 20% melee damage received. This one's fine. This personality is fine. If anything, it's actually a little weak, because 20% infantry melee damage received, you can just wipe them out. And the AI doesn't really run out of ammo often. The fire by rank helps them, but it's actually not as powerful as you'd think. So this is fine. Let's open up Downian. They've got 40% artillery accuracy, 15% range, 15% less stamina. I think this is fine too. It sounds like a lot, but typically the AI only brings 4 artillery. So the only buff they're getting is on 4 of their units, and then they all run out of stamina. And stamina is rough, because if you're tired, all your stats go down. So they're going to lose that accuracy into the late game of the battle. This is fine. Frederican I've already seen as well. This one, Frederican's fine too. It just gives them a flank buff, but the AI doesn't flank often, and so it's not that bad. Gustav, all right, this is a little crazy. 25% charge. Let's reduce that to... Oh, that's weird. The tooltip is wrong. You know, a lot of the tooltips are incorrect. So let me check something real quick. Let's check the tooltip is correct here. So stamina, 15%, that's correct. Range, 15%, that's correct. Good. Let's try Frederican. Frederican tactics. I think there's a missing I. Yep. Flanking is 50%, reloads 25%, range is 10%. That's fine. Gustavian tactics. Charge is 30, so the tooltip's wrong. There. Okay. Charge does not need to be 30%. This could be 25%. And the movement speed could probably be 20%. There. I think that makes it a little nicer. The minus 20% reload I like because it makes their late game a lot less effective. So this is good. But the charge damage, they don't need that much. So I'm going to save that. Now we're going to look at the Munician tactics. Cover 75, 10. Flank received is 20. Flanking damage received 20%. So yeah, if you get around them, you deal extra damage. I do like that. Combat effectiveness in the command radius is 10%. That's a little powerful, but that's okay. 10% is not crazy, and it has to be in the command radius. 75% cover effectiveness. Let me think. The AI doesn't use cover as much as the player does, right? They don't know how to min-max it quite as well as the player. So I don't think it's that bad. I think this one's fine. Let's look at Nasuvian. Tooltip is also wrong. It should be 15% accuracy. So they're getting a 15% accuracy buff. They're dealing 20% extra morale damage, but they're receiving an extra 15%. The only issue I have with this one is it's 15% for the artillery, 15% for the infantry, 15% for the cavalry accuracy. So even the artillery sitting in the back is doing more. And then the 20% morale damage is making all of them, including melee damage, higher. So they're getting better artillery, better cavalry, better infantry, and better melee, and just in every regard. So this one's a little high. I could see the accuracy maybe just coming down to 10% on this one. So maybe the accuracy is only 10. There, because it's also affecting the artillery. I think that's better. And then you were saying, Senate, the extra range is hard to overcome on Downian. Let me take a look. %15 range, 40% artillery accuracy. Why don't we just bring the artillery accuracy down to 35% then? This way they still get the range, because sometimes they don't bring artillery. So we don't want to... If I debuff the range, then they're going to have like no bonus at all. So let's just do that. Let's just bring him down just a tad. And then you were saying Munician is a little difficult. Let me take a look here. I've had the same case where I don't have enough guys to flank, so I can't even use the bonus there. So maybe their cover effectiveness could be more like 60%. That might look a little better. And then Nasuvian, we debuff to be 10%. That's much better. Let's check out Saxon. 50% officer chance. That's nice and big as the debuff. I like that. 75% command radius is fine. 125% command radius morale. The amount of morale it provides is like 8. So 8 plus 125%, not that much. So this is good. That seems fine. Then we have Sebeskian. Minus 15% infantry accuracy. I've been finding Sebastian weak. I've been finding them a little weak. I think they only need the minus 10% to their accuracy. And maybe the morale could come down too, to only be 20% of a buff to their morale. Because the 25%, sometimes they're kind of annoying to take out because they just keep rallying. So maybe we go 20% there. And 10% on accuracy debuff. That should be better. And that is all of them. So I'm going to push my tactical changes. And then I'm going to change the AI sizes that we did. And push that momentarily as well. Are you fighting the HQ, Seb?
I am, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, are they a little strong?
The issue I think is more so that they're my anti
Counter.
again.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I didn't fix the Hildesberg. I'm really glad you mentioned that. I looked up tactics in the project, and Hildesberg never came up. Let me check if I'm missing any. Yeah, it's only Hildesberg that I didn't change. I'm updating all the profiles right now to make them a little bit softer, just a little less extreme.
okay, cool.
Yeah, the tooltip. A lot of the tooltips, I'm not criticizing. I'm just letting you know. I think 4 out of the 9 tooltips were wrong. They were hooked up to the wrong stats. So the numbers, what it's displaying as is not real. Like they're not actually getting a 50% melee buff. They're getting 50% stamina. Even though if you hover over it, it says the opposite. So I think a lot of the tooltips were wrong, but I fixed all of them.
If you want, I can go through them again as well.
No, I got it. I spent time going through all of them. 20% melee. Let's do 40% on stamina. And I'll do a higher ammo consumption. I might swap these as well. Could you hover over their personality real quick? Just want to read what it says. So they're getting 20% melee right now. Okay, got it. Okay, I debuffed both of them a little bit. Let me know if you think that this boss battle is a little too tough as well. Because I could reduce its cavalry here as well, just like I did with the encamped. Do you think their cavalry is a little too powerful here? How much do they got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How much cav is that? Can you count for me?
3, 4, 5. 5 in total.
5 in total. And you're not even playing on hard. So I could reduce their cav a little bit. I might do that, honestly. Yeah, this should look better. Good. And the Act 2 boss battle is the same amount of men. It's the same amount of brigades, which is cool. But the quality is going to be relatively better across all of its brigades.
Nice.
So I fixed the AIs. I fixed the... Let me see here. Fixed the AIs. I fixed the compositions. I'm going to change the bronze guns because I think bronze is a little bit cheap right now. Daniel, you said we need pikes. There's a mod that actually adds in pikes. It's kind of crazy. I think it's called the Slower Battles mod. Yeah, this one here. This one adds pikes, surprisingly. It has nothing to do with the battles being slower, but they add that in. Okay, all the higher tier cannons have gone up by 100. Let's see here. There. Okay, I think we're ready to do another build. Is there anything else you would want me to change?
No, that's it for me.
How's this battle going now? What's the AI doing? Why are they moving sideways? Oh, it's because you're flanking them, right? On the left. Yeah. Do you think this is winnable?
I was trying to do the tactic that you showed me. I'll see if it works out.
And yeah, the crazy thing is you're not even on hard. You're on the normal one. So if you were on hard, they would get 1 extra unit per brigade. So there'd be an extra 4 units that you'd be fighting. And I think at that point you'd be done. That cavalry is going to kill your artillery. Oh, okay, you lucked out. Okay, we're good. Someone mentioned, Seb, that saving customization's broken on the internal build. So after this battle, could you note down to test the saving and loading customization on regiments?
Sure.
Yeah, it looks like it's lost. Well, luckily the next build we're doing makes the AI deploy less troops and the personalities are a little weaker.
Cool. Yeah, I'll try that out when Thomas builds.
Imagine a difficulty modifier that just double stacked the AI doctrine or gave them 2 doctrines at the same time. It just gives them an extra one.
I'll just see you
For
play
AI?
now before you start considering buffing.
What'd you say, Tom?
I'd love to see you play 10 hours.
No. I'm not saying we do that. I'm just saying how crazy would that be? It would just be like ridiculously hard. I think
Gustav getting charged with like 100% melee. Oh,
yeah, no. I think it is good how it is. If anything, the game's actually pushed a little too hard. So I made some changes where I made the encamped and the boss armies a little smaller. And then I took the personalities that are charge oriented and brought them down so the buff is less. And then I even took the one that gives the accuracy buff and I lessened that one as well. And then the artillery one, I lessened the range bonus I think it gets. I think I did that. So the personalities themselves should be a little less extreme, and the encamped and boss battle should be easier.
did you lose to the encamped army on the 5 difficulty? Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it felt like I could have won if they just had the amount of cav they had was just, it had like a ton of high tier cav and I couldn't beat them. The artillery was fine, the infantry was fine, but the cavalry was a mess.
Yeah, when they roll high tier infantry or artillery, it's usually okay. It's when the high tier cav gets rolled.
Yeah,
it's a
it's
fucking
crazy.
problem if you don't have anything for it.
That is specifically what I debuffed. So the encamped and HQ now use the easy template for their cavalry instead of the Act 2 medium template. So they shouldn't be bringing cuirassiers in now to like an encamped army in Act 1. It should be more like hussars or dragoons. And there should be fewer of them. It should be like a stack of 3 instead of a 4 stack. Let me know when you... How long do you think that build will take?
5-10 minutes.
Oh, awesome. Okay, let me know when it's done, then I'll run another test.
All right.
Seb, I'm going to go heat up food. You need to entertain the stream while I'm gone, okay? For 5 minutes.
Okay. Hey, Thomas, can you help me out?
I'm swamped with work right now.
Unless I end the stream now. Does anybody else want to see another run to test out another build after I've made it a little easier, or are you guys happy on the stream? I think most of you guys saw the more important changes, so I don't think there's anything else too much to show off. Get out of here. All right. All right, yeah, I'll wrap up because I'm all done showing off many of the new changes anyways. All right, I will see you guys. The beta is up. We're going to upload another build to the beta. You're going to have all of next week to test, and hopefully the update goes live on Friday, April 10th. That is the aim for now.